Think we are live. Hello and welcome to the first Human Frequency live stream. This is the first of its kind. We're just trying this. This is all an experiment. I don't know if anyone is out there.
We just want to see if this works. Looks like there's a couple of people here. We just want to see if this works. And we're just happy to be back.
Yeah. So
Happy New Year. And we took a little bit of an extended break for the holidays, and we're back, and we're hoping this live stream works. We didn't announce it because we don't know if it's going to work. And I don't know if the internet connection we have can accommodate it, but hopefully it does. And we can have a good time answering questions and interacting.
So type something in the side, in the little sidebar here. If you have a question, we'll do our best to answer it. Lily, hello.
Oh, hi.
See, you just greet people.
Oh, hi, Lily and Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Nice for you to be here.
Welcome.
We wanted to set up this live stream talk because so many people ask us questions by email, and it's really not the best way to talk. And I would love it if we could actually have callers calling in, but I don't know how to do that. So we're just going to try this out. And, if you have some questions, you want to ask us anything, we actually are planning to do an Ask Us Anything live stream next week. This might be also an Ask Us Anything live stream.
Yeah, just sort of a general discussion thing. Hello, Gail. Welcome. And Lily says it works. So
okay, cool. So we're not breaking up or anything. We have a fairly good internet connection. It doesn't meet the requirements that people say you need for this. However, they don't take into account that we are hardwired in their Wi-Fi, which makes a huge difference. Perfect. Yay.
That's about the best we can hope for.
All right. Well, it's a gloomy day in Southern California. Southern California is struggling for rain at the moment. There is rain on the way, and we're just having that before the rain gloom that we explained so much about, and hoping for that to come through. We're already way above average here. So
hello, Shank Sitter. Hello, Vince.
Vince is here. Welcome, everybody. So we wanted to talk about if anybody has any questions about Organite, Orgone energy, law, business. These are all the topics we talk about. So what we think we're going to do in the future is maybe have an episode about a specific thing, and you can ask about that.
Hello, Teresa. Welcome.
Oh, goodness. Okay, there's so many people here. Okay, let's read some questions. Road pirates.
You'll have to clarify.
Yeah. Okay, Tom, what are the road pirates?
I'm picturing just pirates out, just driving around.
Arr.
Yeah. Get off the road.
Avast ye, mateys. Well, when Tom gets back to us, then we will answer any of these questions. So anyway, that's what we're dealing with right now. We're just kind of in the middle of the winter time here, just battling for rain, battling for snow. It's going very, very well. I will say that 2022 is looking like it's going to be a better year than 2021 and much better than 2020 for all of us, for all the things we're dealing with. I know that there's a lot of pessimism from the economic world, but this is more than just about money. So we're talking about a spiritual
dealing with police
changes.
Having no license plates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you are not ready to deal with them yet. I'm not saying that like personally to you, but I'm just saying you got to know a lot of stuff before you do that.
It's very, what's the word?
Harrowing?
Can be. If you're not ready for all the tricks that they'll throw at you, then it can be very harrowing indeed. It's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that. And they will try and trick you at every turn.
So I would recommend, if you're interested in registering that legal name, which is a lot of probably what these live streams are going to be about, I would recommend that you just do the basics first. Just get it registered using the instructions that we link to in a lot of our videos, and I could send you a link by email. Use the instructions, do the process, and really live with it for a while before you start to do anything complicated with it. We're going to be doing these talks, so it's going to be, you're going to learn what to do. You get your passport, your business bank account. These kind of things are the things you're going to want to do well before you deal with cops and having these specialized placards on your car.
We know all about corrupt counties, so
Yeah.
I get you on that.
Yeah. Well, we're from Los Angeles, so we don't live in LA County anymore, but LA County is about as corrupt as it gets.
Kern is no picnic either.
No,
But
well, California is the worst state, so anybody
yeah.
anybody would probably know that. I think that maybe New York is a close second.
Well, that's good, Teresa. That's very good. That's three plus years now.
Oh, that's amazing. Good for you. And I see it looks like you're using your business entity name here for your profile as well.
Which is fine, as long as you know that you are not it.
It's just commerce.
Yeah.
It's just business. And actually, when I set up an account with anybody, be it like a Yahoo Mail or anything like that, I always use the business entity name for everything.
Yes, even if no money is actually being exchanged, it's you can still tell when it's commerce and when it's not. And anytime it's commerce, you got to use that legal name.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I would also like to, we were made aware of something very interesting at the end of last month, that Karl Hans Wels, the holder of the Organite trademark since 2003, passed away at the age of 77, I think. That was interesting to see that.
Yeah, you know, it was the strangest thing. It was the strangest thing. I had this notion to look up the Organite patent again. I had looked it up before, and we've actually done a report on that before. And I just had a notion to look it up, and all of a sudden it said that it was no longer held by Karl Wels and he was deceased. So this is how we found that out. So that means that probably you don't have to worry as much about using the word Organite online. You don't have to worry about being attacked for it now. So
well, Tom, if they beat someone up in court who answered to that legal name, then I wouldn't say it took courage. They're just the guys. If he says that that's his name, then he's doing what's called pleading into a fiction of law. And if he does that, then everything is pretty much at their discretion that they do to him.
We have a question from Vince Cashmere about the chemtrails. So he's asking about when the chemtrails sputter and stop. Yes, that is a good thing, because when the chemtrails are breaking up, it means that the orgone energy is doing that to them. So if you see a trail stopping and starting, and they really are sputtering, it's not like they're cutting off a spray. You know, people think it's spraying. It's not like it's cutting off a spray, turning it on and off. You'll notice there's little bits and pieces of it. That's the action of orgone energy. It spirals up and away from the earth, and it lifts pollution. So if it's breaking that up, that is a very good thing.
Yeah, let's just be clear about that. We used to believe that narrative that there was spraying going on, and we believed that until we found out through our work that that's not the case.
There's a second part to Vince's question.
Oh, yeah.
How do we stop them from clouding it up with their chemtrails? Well, when we use Organite, we actually make more clouds a lot of the time. So you have to learn what is being made. Nothing's really being made by them. I guess that's my point. You have to learn how to read the sky. So if you're getting a lot of clouds, it is because of humidity. Even if you see them up there, if it's flat clouds with no definition, it means that the sky is DOR. It's a deadly radiation in the atmosphere. That's why you can see chemtrails persist. It's because of deadly radiation. And if it's an ORI sky, like you have Organite and you see stuff breaking up and you see holes forming in the clouds, or that flat layer starting to get more definition, that means that orgone energy is becoming more dominant in the atmosphere. So it's going to be very hard to figure that out you have to look at it over time, because people see them going across and they think that the trails themselves are making the cloud cover. But in fact, it is OR and DOR acting on existing water vapor in the atmosphere and what is coming out of the plane, if anything is coming out of them. We don't really know, but we do know that spreading trails means DOR and breaking trails means OR.
Yes, Jen, it is true. We are live. You are not hallucinating. This is our first live stream.
Oh,
hello
Natural
and
Freedom
welcome,
League.
Natural Freedom
Hello.
League.
Yes, it's nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. And it was great talking with you last year about the legal name. And it's nice to see you here today. Randy Kelton. There's a question here. Oh, I don't know who Randy Kelton is. So maybe you can fill us in, Tom. If Randy Kelton is a legal name, Randy Kelton, first and last name, that person does not have much protection in the law. I mean, if you have a legal name, and most people do, you are in trouble. That's the way we try
if it's
to teach.
unregistered,
Yeah.
if it's unregistered,
Well, if you have one, it's you.
Right, right. If you are giving body to it, giving it life, then.
Well, while I'm still, before we get into another topic, since there's not another question yet, I do want to finish telling Vince about it. What you could do, the best thing you can do if you want to see more clear skies, is that you can gift your local cell towers. And by the way, there is somebody else in Cleveland. I know you're in Cleveland. There's somebody else there that just got 20 tower busters and is gifting the area. So that's going to help immensely. And what you're going to see is you will see clouds, because Organite makes clouds, but those clouds usually evaporate. So you're going to get more like periods of clear sky and periods of cloud without that gloomy haze in between.
Rule of law radio. Okay.
Okay.
We've got that in the chat stream. So if I have to look at it later, in case I forget, I'll go back and check that out.
So, do you want to talk a little more about Carl Velves and what happened with that, since we're waiting for more questions?
Not much happened. He died. and
well, he did threaten both of our business entities at one point. He specifically,
like, he threatens everyone who makes Organite at some point or another.
Yeah.
And we that was in conjunction with Etsy and some corruption related to how they deal with people who use the word Organite.
Mm-hmm.
And
we have old videos about that.
Yeah,
from like 3 or 4 years ago now, and all the corruption with Etsy in general, and their attacks on all of us craftspeople and especially females and people who don't know much about the law. And there's all kinds of problems with Etsy.
We had videos about that, but we were already in the process of kind of migrating away from Etsy. But that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And he did break the law, and we sent certified legal letters to him that and right after that, Etsy changed their policy regarding, because the issue there was that they immediately sided with him and took his word for it. And now I think they have a little bit more of a process in place to determine the validity of complaints.
Well, yeah, they can't just shut you down now because one person says, oh, I already trademarked that word. They have to actually look at the page. And if they had actually looked at our page, they would have seen that we didn't even use the word Organite. So we were actually complying with it voluntarily, even though we didn't have to. Teresa just said something interesting here.
Mm-hmm.
So Teresa said, we went to court for not having a driver license. Correct use of the word, by the way. It's a driver license, not a driver's license. And a car placard got sent to a higher court. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be really touchy. Now, if the legal name is registered, it has standing. If you signed a ticket, that's going to make things a little more difficult, because you are then signing a promise to appear. And you can't appear.
Which is impossible.
You can't appear, neither can that legal name. So you can't sign it. And you do need to get a traffic lawyer. If it does get issued anyway, you do need to get a traffic lawyer then at that point, because the lawyer can appear, because the lawyer is still operating as a dead legal entity, whereas you are not. So you can't even go into court.
Hello, Enlightened. Yes, we used Etsy we started in early 2015, and that was in early 2018 that we switched. So yeah, we used it for a number of years. Good question, Tom. Yes, we use Shungite in pretty much all of our not in pendants.
Unless it's a Shungite pendant, but everything else, pyramids, tower busters.
We just recently, in fact, a few months ago, started adding Shungite granules to all of our non-intricate pieces, like I mentioned, not in earrings or in pendants that don't feature Shungite as the main stone, but all of our other pyramids, our ziggurats, our tower busters, even everything's got Shungite, at least a little bit of Shungite in it now, along with the quartz nuggets that we've been adding since basically the very beginning.
Right, and Shungite is effective for EMF, so it's very good to add it. You don't have to for functioning Organite, but we have started using it, and you can get Shungite granules and powders and stuff like that at a pretty low price, because they're not decorative, but they're very functional. Teresa signed with the DBA. Well, you signed. That's a promise. So you did sign correctly if you signed surname, comma, given name, doing business as the business name. but that's a promise
It's
to
still a
appear.
promise.
So at that point, you're going to have to look at all the verbiage on there and see what you have to do. They can't really force the business to sign the car over to the state with the registration. I mean, it's business property, but you did sign it. So now you're going to have to follow through. You have to follow through with it no matter what.
Probably something that you'd have to, or rather your business would have to hire a traffic lawyer to deal with.
Traffic lawyers are pretty easy to get to. I mean, you're going to have to cycle through a few that are balking at the weirdness of it, and then you could find one that understands. But you have to do your due diligence. A lawyer will never work with the assumed name certificate, only the results of the assumed name certificate. So you have to do your due diligence. They don't like to acknowledge that certificate, but if you do everything right and legally on your end, they can work with the legal results. So let's say you have an unsigned traffic ticket. Very easy to get a lawyer for that. Well, I'll look at this traffic law guru. Let's see if he's a
You missed what Jen,
did I miss something
Jen
here?
said. We're going to try and hit everything as we go.
Oh,
if
yeah.
we miss something, we're not perfect.
Web-like substance.
But we will try and answer every question that comes in.
Well, I can't answer that one because I've never seen snow with a web-like substance. Did you actually see it yourself, or was it just in the news? That would be something I would have to ask there, because I've never seen it, so I couldn't actually answer that question. And the traffic law guru is the one I was addressing next. Okay. Eddie Craig sounds like it could be a given name.
Could be.
If it's a first and last name, then I can't take any advice from him, because he's in that system in that way, and I wouldn't be able to do what he does.
Well, the name is unregistered.
If the name is unregistered, it has no standing. So if he uses a business entity that has standing, then I would be able to look into that. However, traffic law is really no different from any other law. So if you understand this legal name registration, you don't need to know all these little things. You don't need to know any statute law. You only need to know how law works. We'll be getting more into that. A paid liar, I like that. It's funny.
But I mean, I agree. Lawyers are not the greatest group of people around, but we do need them from time to time, just because once a civil process gets started, if you're dealing with a corrupt agency or business entity or whatever it is, that you'll always need a lawyer. Otherwise, they won't take anything you say seriously. Even if you've registered the name, it's in one ear and out the other.
John from Natural Freedom League has mentioned something here, becoming a notary. Well, John Wydogan can be a notary, but you can't. And let's see, registered the name. Well, if you want to be alive, you can't be a notary. If you want to be living, being a notary will require you to perjure yourself and that business. I mean, if you need a license for anything that is given license by the state, you have to be that legal entity to do it. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yeah. To me, it makes sense. Yes, Vince. It's good. That area, I know. I've only been to Cleveland once, but it can be very dreary out there. So the more Organite in that area, the better. I know that Pennsylvania has gotten a lot of Organite lately, and it's just something that needs to spread around. There's a lot of ground to cover, and there's a lot of towers out there, and the more that are neutralized, the better that the weather patterns will be everywhere. I mean, we're seeing a just incredible rebalancing of weather patterns all over the country. Yeah. This is not just localized to Southern California just because we're here. No, this is the Pacific Northwest. All the storms that they had during November were brought on by and through Organite gifting, widespread Organite gifting. And likewise, there's several other parts of the country. I know the Northeast is having a little bit more balanced weather.
Yeah, I'm hearing good reports from the East. And by the way, Vince, the pictures you showed me, they were really not bad. I mean, even already before you had your Organite and before our other friend had their Organite, it really, really wasn't that bad. So I think it's because people have been doing it around the state in other areas, and it makes a difference everywhere. So just keep on doing what you're doing. You have the Organite, and you can also increase your own consciousness with that Organite and put out that vibration into the atmosphere. This is interesting what Teresa says here.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be addressed. I think you should address that one. That's a very important point. And I know what you're saying, Teresa, that if you didn't sign it, they said you'd go to jail. That law is also in California. However, it's they can't take a living woman to jail.
Now that it is possible theoretically for them to physically haul you away, but once you get to the station, once you can prove to them that you are a living woman and that you are the name holder of that registered legal name that's a business entity, then they have to let you go.
Well, they can't take you to jail in the first place.
But what I'm saying is, if there was a mix-up, like let's just say you got like, you know, Harvey Keitel's character from Bad Lieutenant, like the most corrupt cop in the world. If you got to a situation like that where you're in a police station, they have to at least prove who you are at that point. Right. And once they can't do that, once they realize that they've got a living woman, they have to release you.
Well, in California, if you don't sign a ticket, you go to jail. But I can tell you that since this whole thing has started, that a ticket has been unsigned in California and the driver did not go to jail. So it is, you can show that paperwork. And if you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing and can explain it, the cop, first off, the cop shouldn't pull you over at all. Okay, they're not allowed to. But if they do, they cannot issue a ticket to that business entity and say it's the same as the driver. It's impossible, and they can't make it appear, and they also can't make it sign. So even in a state where they have to take the driver to jail, it literally can't happen if the cop is made aware. And usually you need to get them to call back to base.
Well, I want to answer what Tom said here, because I have gotten this before. When you do this, the legal name registration, there is no need to print it in any paper. That's a common thing that's going around. I don't know if it would hurt by doing that, but the whole reason to publish a name change in a paper is because it's public.
But this isn't a name change.
It concerns the whole. Not just that, but more importantly, it's not public anymore. It is truly private, actually private. So it doesn't concern the public anymore. Therefore, no reason to do that. And also, like you said, it's not a name change. It's just the control of that name is changing hands from public, whatever state that is, to the surname.
Right. Like if the CEO of McDonald's changed, they wouldn't need to publish that. Right. That's just a change of who's controlling the company. And also, Tom, you don't actually need to register both the first and last and the first, middle, last. First, middle, last is the same as first and last. So you only really need the one. That's all that matters. And that social security number is the unique tax identifier for that entity. So that's in the system. I mean, even though you don't register with it, that's how you identify the entity.
And yes, that's correct. You can only use the legal name to rent an apartment.
That's true.
That's the only name you can use. It's business. It's commerce.
Okay. Teresa says, as long as we don't admit we are that entity, they cannot pin us to that ticket in court. You can't just say it. You have to prove it. That's what the assumed name certificate is for. You prove that you are not that entity. So a lot of people say it's not me, but unless you can prove it, that it would always stand in court. I mean, this will stand in court. If you end up in court, which, I mean, I don't think you can. You would have to get a lawyer. But, I mean, I know you can't, because only a dead entity can go to court. That document will always hold up. It is absolute proof that that entity is registered and active and in good standing. That could be verified by going to the Minnesota Business Portal and looking up its status, and you are not it. You are the name holder. Oh, yeah, you already answered John about the apartment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like the term straw man. I'm just going to get that out there onto the airwaves. We
already did in the forbidden words.
Yeah, but we don't like that term. Just, it's not accurate. I think that's my biggest beef with it.
It's also associated with that UCC crap. According to Doug, that was what he had said. It's associated with that UCC crap. And
UCC is a trap. All that stuff is a trap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Legal name, traffic legislation, statutes and acts ain't law. Well, it's all contracts. So, you know, if you are that entity and you have the driver license, you're subject to it. The legal name binds the human to that legal name. and the statute enacts. That is correct. That is correct. The legal name is what it is. That's why you register it, so that it's not in those contracts anymore. Yeah, it looks like you got a bad cop there, Teresa. They had a point to make, didn't they? And that happens. You will end up in that.
It can
if
happen.
They have a point to make, that's what traffic lawyers are for.
But if your heart's in the right place, you will be guided to the right way to get out of it. That's how it works.
You can also feel free to reach out to us, Teresa, by email. We can try to answer your questions on that, because it's going to be a lot. And if there's anything we can do to help, we will. I think you're going to need a professional on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, you will for sure, but we'll try to help you out in any way we can. That's nice, John. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have done a ton of Organite gifting to make it rain and restore natural weather. Sometimes that means more rain. Sometimes it means less, depending on where you are. So we just rebalance things.
Well, if you go to court, you can't go to court. You're a living woman. They won't even recognize you.
Yeah, this is going to need its own. This is going to need its own episode.
I figured it would, and I figured we'd be answering a lot of these questions in this one. But how do you prove you're not the legal name? The assumed name certificate. It's registered. It can't be you. The name holder field is crucial. That's why state of Minnesota is the only state that you can only do it properly with state of Minnesota.
Right, because any other state's going to want an owner.
Right.
And according to what Doug was talking about years ago when he was doing this, he said that the other states will not just require an owner, but they'll need notaries. You never want to use a notary.
It's a trap.
Back to John, that's why you don't want to be one. You shouldn't even use one.
49 of the 50 are traps. There's only one correct way to do this. And this, of course, ties back to what Servant King Marcus talks about, is that you can't own anything. You don't. It feels like you do if you possess something and feel like you have control over it, but you're just holding public property privately. Yeah. And yeah, this is going to need a whole other episode. I could tell.
We're probably going to have to do a lot of these. And I think this is going to be a good way to kind of answer questions and get more information on the assumed name certificate. It's extremely important. It's something that we haven't done a lot on because people don't understand it, but we've put the basics out there.
Yeah, but we just wanted to do this. I've kind of been wanting to do this live stream for a number of months now, but we had a lot of stuff to deal with last year, but hopefully this is something we can do more of and just have a more interactive approach to Q&A.
Yeah. And Teresa, I'm sorry for what you're dealing with out there. Please feel free to email us. Sending your paperwork to the court doesn't do anything. So I will mention this, that once any legal process is set in motion, you do need to do it per the paperwork. So if you have to answer paper for paper, and you're going to need a lawyer for that, because I can't do any of that. I'm a living woman, and that entity needs to be represented by another entity. It's very complicated to describe this, but a living woman simply cannot be in court. So every paper needs to be answered with paper. So the lawyer would have to do the process correctly. Once any legal process is set in motion, there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's all artificial intelligence. It's all computerized and automated.
Well, Jaleel, if South Carolina calls you an owner and not a name holder, then South Carolina is no good. And Doug did say that he literally went through all 50. He didn't just do California and No, he went methodically each state, and they all have the incorrect verbiage except for state of Minnesota.
Above this, we see the Enlightened in the UK. In the UK, that's a very interesting point. Yeah, we don't know of any way to do it in the UK yet. However, I do know someone who's looking into that, and he has not yet found a way to do it as a name holder. They use other names and like shareholder and things like that. That's not right. So
to be clear, anything other than name holder is guaranteed to be a trap.
And
You
I'm
can
hoping
quote
there's
me
a
on
way
that.
to register with United Kingdom in some way. So I'm waiting to hear more back from our friend there if he figures this out. And if not, then so far all we know is that state of Minnesota is the way to do it. So that doesn't mean that if you're in a different country, you can't use it, but you do have to have a U.S. postal mailing address.
Jen, I'm going to type Sharon's email address into here so that you can send those snow pictures.
Oh, cool. I like to see pictures, and anytime anybody has some very cool pictures that you want to share, if it's something that I could share on my blog that would explain something or just show a great orgone transmutation, I will definitely share it. So if you want me to, if you don't want me to, I just keep them to myself.
You can't be an attorney. You're a living man. You
Oh
can't be.
yeah, you can't be one.
Only a natural person, which is an unregistered legal name, can be an attorney.
Well, the people use the word attorney in fact. Unfortunately, that's something that Doug started doing later on. When he kind of changed directions on all this stuff, you are, when you register that name, you are a name holder. It just means that you hold the name and use it legally in commerce. So you're not it, you just hold it. You don't own it, but you control it. So rather than calling yourself an attorney in fact, I would call yourself a CEO. A CEO is the most you can say besides name holder, really.
Well, a tutorial is, I mean, it's
Where does it say this? Oh, tutorial.
the Enlightenment.
How to avoid. Oh,
The problem with the tutorial is that this whole thing is just it's so deep. We have to release things in pieces. That's why we did the episode about the USA passport. What is business? What is all of these things seem like they're not related to the assumed name certificate, but they absolutely are. You have to have this foundation in place before going into that. Otherwise, A, it's not going to make sense, and B, people could end up hurting themselves, getting themselves in trouble, etc. And we want to avoid that happening.
And there's no quick way either. I mean, there's no quick way to understanding this. You might think that you can understand it quickly, and it's not that you're not smart. It's about your training and your programming. All of us have been programmed. And even us, I mean, I'm not saying that we aren't. It took years and years for Gabe and myself to really understand and use this. The best thing to do is to start by registering it and take these things one step at a time. Do easy stuff first. Don't ever try to leap into anything head first, especially something like involving not having a driver license or not having plates on the car. These are advanced things. If you don't even know what to say when you get a jury duty notice, to get out of jury duty very easily with this, by the way, you're not ready for the other stuff. But don't worry. Just keep everything clean. Just keep it clean, even if it means paying your taxes, paying for registration for the car. You might not love doing it, but keep it clean until you absolutely understand this stuff, because otherwise you're in for a world of trouble.
And Marcus says, best to act when the confusion is gone. And that is the golden rule. Yes, Teresa, that is absolutely correct. You are the name holder only. All they can do is to try and test you. Or in other words, try and trick you. That's all they can do. That's good, though. You're just the name holder. You don't exist civilly.
Oh, it's more than just TV. That says the Enlightened. What's the name? The Enlightened Mank. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It is TV, but it's so much more. And I cannot stress this enough. If you are a smartphone user, you will have a very hard time with these concepts. You are being energetically changed, and people think that that in the future they're gonna put a microchip in us, or they're putting nanotechnology in us, all these things. That is not how they're controlling our minds with energy. They don't need that. They control it just by rerouting your mental pathways. If you're using the energy weapon, and most people do, if you're using it, you're gonna have a very hard time wrapping your head around these concepts. So I do recommend, besides, yes, refraining from TV, because it is garbage. I agree with that. Don't use the smartphone unless you absolutely have to make a call or you need to be in touch. I'm going to actually write an article on how to create your own EMF-free home, because it's in my book, but I was just going to do a step-by-step on the website to make it easier. But you do need to clear your mind. And also, it's not just that. It's religion has programmed you. Society has programmed us. School. There's just so many places where we've been bombarded with programming.
Mm-hmm. Religion and the state work together. Don't think there's a separation between church and state. That is a lie.
We call
That
it
is a downright
television
lie.
too, by the way. We call it television.
The church is a member of the state. All churches are registered corporations. They were created by the state, not by God.
Chris Hauser. Chris Hauser is the name of an entity, though. So just beware. That's a legal name.
Yeah, and this is not anything personal, but there are and this is not just to one of you, but it's to everyone. There are so many traps in the whole legal guru realm out there. I don't even feel like I need to say this. I said it so many times.
Well, we got to repeat these things because we do have a lot of videos. I recommend you check out. There was a while back when this nonsense about this, what do you want to call it so we don't get censored? This thing that's been going around, this liability that people have been passing from one to another
for the last 22 months.
Yeah. This thing, since this has been out, we all are worried about being forced to inject some protection against this liability. And anyway,
speaking in code now.
Well, I have to. But anyway, go back to when that whole thing started and listen to our videos on name and identity, which were all about avoiding being forced into anything that you don't want to do to yourself. If you go back to name and identity part 1 and 2, we get into the very fundamentals of the name. There are what is God, what is law, what is business, what is property.
Yeah.
Those are very, very important. And also the USA passport is a great way to learn the difference between a first, middle, and last name and a surname and a given name.
That is a great anagram.
Where pointed out?
Omicron is an anagram of moronic.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I don't know if we're going to top that.
I don't know if we are either.
Live stream now.
Yeah, I think so. But I think that'll do it because I don't think we're going to do better than that. But
no, I think we should keep going.
No, okay. Because I really do think that we're going to need to plan these live streams by topic. So I think that would probably be the best way to do it. Also, we're not great at promoting stuff. We are trying to do an email list. I have sent one out. And I will continue to do this. So if you want to be on it, please let me know your name and your email address and I'll add you. Just email us at thekembo@gmail.com. And we can put our website in the description here. I think it's already in there so that you can click on that and email us through there. And we'll be trying to keep you up to date on these things, as well as, we do something special in our store. We'll let you know.
The Bible is not recognized in any legal system anywhere in the world.
It can't be. It's a different set of law.
Not possible.
Different lawgiver.
Different owner, property. With God, he owns the property. In any legal system, the country is the owner. The country is the God. The country owns everything. That's why it's important to get this background in law that Marcus provides. Mm-hmm. And his videos are all still up. They're not on his website anymore, but there is a YouTube channel. I forget the name of it, but if you search Servant King Marcus, his videos still come up. Yeah. Under all of them are on this one channel. There's a lot of other disinfo on this channel other than Marcus's videos that I do not endorse, but all of his videos are up there, and I highly recommend anyone who's new to this just watch them one by one. They are transformative. Teresa,
that's correct. You are the name holder only. You do not represent it. Very good. I like it when people get it right. Yeah. Yeah, I think regarding the Bible, people like to invoke the Bible. You could do that in your life, but not in a courtroom and not with a police officer.
It's a totally
different law
and separate jurisdiction.
Right. Yeah.
Court only has jurisdiction over legal entities, over non-living.
Yeah.
That's why all that stuff that people talk about when they say "all rise," just a summons to appear.
A summons to appear. Yeah. All rise. You're bringing the dead to life.
It sounds silly, but that's exactly what's going on in there. You don't want to have anything to do with that realm. It's the whole purpose for doing that separating ourselves from the legal fiction is so that we don't have any life, any presence in that world. We're in we're in the realm of the natural, what is real and what is true, where we are subservient to our creator. That's the other thing I can't stress enough. There are a lot of people doing this that just they don't want
they don't want
the
pay
duties.
for stuff.
They don't want the duties.
Right.
They just want the benefits.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And if you separate from your civil life and return to your godly life, your God-given life, you have duties under that too. You can't just get the rights without the duties. It doesn't work that way.
Hello, Jorge. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
It's nice that people are coming from around the world.
All over the place.
This is really exciting. What Gabe said is very important. I know a lot of people who want all the benefits of God's world and all the benefits of the legal world. They want their Social Security and they want their government benefits, but they also want God's benefits, but they don't want to follow
any of the obligations.
But they don't want any of the obligations. So they want the benefits, but without paying the taxes, for example, or they want the benefits of God without, maybe keeping the Sabbath, for example. So, there's a lot of people who want their cake and eat it too, but you can't. You have to follow the law. So what's going to happen is when you register it, you follow God's law exclusively. The business follows that law very, very well. It's not about breaking law. It's about obeying the law. You obey God's law. It obeys that law.
But once it's registered, most of those statutes don't even apply
go away
anymore. And what does the word pagan mean, Tom? It means countryman.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only evidence of your country given life is the page.
Man of the
pagan.
Page.
That's where the word comes from.
Yes, correct, Teresa.
Yes, it's the closest that there can be to ownership in that fictional realm because it's all paper.
Yeah,
it's all paper. It's not. There is no such thing as true ownership, even in that system. But yes, a properly registered business entity, legal name, it owns it. Whatever is in question, unless there's a stipulation in a contract that's been signed that says otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting into the whole realm of real estate and what's going on there. I didn't really want to open up the can of worms.
Fake estate,
but it is important because the state owns the claim to all land. That doesn't mean it owns it, but as long as it claims it, it will defend it. So until stuff really starts breaking down and getting out of control, then that's...
Yeah, I want it to get out of control so our horse can live in our yard. That would be nice.
I'd like that too.
Right now, I wouldn't want to, get the landlord in trouble by bringing a big animal onto the property.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know yet. How it's going to pan out.
Right. We don't know yet. Things are breaking down. I can say that. I think we're probably going to wrap this up soon, right? You're having fun, aren't you? I got to go visit the horse. But see, I'd like to not have to drive to go visit him. I'd like him to be with us.
Just step outside and there he is.
Yeah, that would be nice. But there's zoning. And that we don't even know what to deal with that yet. Because we don't have property. We rent a place because when we don't know something, we don't get involved with it. So, not that we could anyway, but we don't, in California, properties are crazy expensive. But if you don't know something, stay out of it. That's why we don't try to buy it. We just rent a place. Because
you want to hear about it? Sure. Well, we'll tell you all about it. Real estate is not real. It's not real because you're just buying titles. You're buying titles to properties.
Right. Your business entity can own the title, but the title is
not the property.
No, it's not the property. That's like a whole discussion for another day. We are just starting to learn this part of it. But what we do is we have a lease. Our business entities have a lease. We rent a house. It's there's no danger to our businesses doing that. We don't have to worry about a contract with a county and paying the rent to the county every year. Not that that's a lot cheaper than paying rent to a landlord, but if you don't know something, I stay out of it. I don't know. That's
true, Teresa. You are correct. God owns it all.
That's correct.
That is the true owner. That's the true owner. But what we've got going on right now is that we've got all of these trespassers who have laid claim to his property, and now we're in the very, very early stages of these trespassers need to get evicted.
Well, we're in the
And
very
that's what's
early
going
stages of what we've discovered, and we're the only people who have done certain things, but we've discovered how to take a car back. So the car belongs to God again. I mean, our business entities don't hold title to it, actually.
There is no title.
There is no title anymore. There's a bill of title to it, actually. There's an expired title sale. Business entities hold the property on paper, but in reality, it's God's car. So we've gotten that back for God. We don't know yet how to get the land back for him. But what I do think is that you cannot have a title. And I know people will say, never get a property without a clean title or any of this. I think the title is the problem. I think the title proves that your business doesn't own it. So once we learn more about that, we'll be able to share it.
Yes, Ben. Yeshua is the way. We can only get to the Father by and through the Son.
Thank you, Ben.
I think that's been pretty well established by now. But we also have to do the will of God ourselves. We can't just say praise Jesus and then everything is fine. Doesn't work that way. This
Right.
isn't,
Jesus
as Marcus
himself
says, this isn't some once a week feel good stuff. This is serious stuff. This is law. This is we were put here to see, can we obey the law? And there is only one law.
And Jesus says, follow the commandments, obey the commandments, do the will of my Father. He says this again and again. Well, I'll check it out, Tom. I'm curious about it. I don't know if that's the case, but I will check it out. I'm open. I'm open to looking things up. I can tell very, very quickly when something is a trap. It's once you know this, and we've been doing this for 6 years, you know it. I mean, it's ingrained in my mind now. So maybe like 5 years ago, I would not have been able to tell, but now I can look at verbiage on things and see it pretty clearly.
By the way,
But I'll look for sure.
I really want to thank everyone here today,
Yeah.
and anyone who watches the stream later. We for understanding this point is that we're just teachers. We're just here to teach about what we know, and if something is dishonest or disinfo or a trap, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're just going to come right out and say it. And because there's no feelings involved here. We're here to teach the information that we know, and hopefully we reach people. Okay.
It says our connection is unstable. I'm not exactly sure why.
Maybe because of what I just said.
Well, but
they have a tendency to be reactionary.
But I'm hoping we're still coming through. I think we should wrap up, and we'll be planning another live stream for next Thursday. That's the 20th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
January 20th at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Pacific
Pacific.
time.
So we're going to do another one then. And I'm hoping we're still online right now, but it says our connection is unstable. We are hardwired, so I'm not sure why. But anyway, please do come back and visit with us next Thursday. And also, if you want to be on the email list, let me know, and I'll keep you up to date on things. But I think we're going to do this as a regular thing because there's a lot of questions. So I think next week.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you all very much. We really appreciate your being here. We didn't know if anybody would be here. This was an experiment. We literally were doing this to see if it worked.
Okay, he says the connection's fine.
Oh, okay, it's lying to us then.
YouTube lying?
Well, we're hardwired. There's really nothing that can interfere with our connection here. We have a very solid internet connection. We don't do any Wi-Fi anything in here. So thank you for letting me know. But I do think that we should probably wrap up, and we'll come back next week, and we'll try to do like a topic. I think next week, we're just going to do a free form again and ask us anything, because you guys were, you were here. We didn't let you know we were going to be here, but next week we're going to let more people know. So there will be a bigger group, and we can answer anybody's questions.
General discussion type thing. And I will bookend this by saying that if you email us, you can contact either of us through the email addresses on our website, thekembo.com. If you do send an email contact to us, please check your junk mail for replies. All of our replies inevitably go
mostly
straight into spam.
I would recommend you check spam all the time, because everybody who's here is a little bit different thinking than the way the AI, the way the parasites want you to think, or you wouldn't be here. So they may mess with your messages from various people, any friends, family, us, people who think different. So always check your spam, because a lot of people who think differently do get attacked in this way, and it's very easy for them to do it through the technology. But I want to thank you all for being here. It's very unexpected. We thought we'd be here for a few minutes, and I was like, well, let's see if anybody even types anything. This is wonderful. I'm glad to see that it works. And you can visit our website, thechembo.com, support our work there if you want to buy Organite or give a donation. We gratefully accept that.
Yes.
And we're always there for your questions too. A lot of questions are answered on the website about Organite gifting. Check it out. There's frequently asked questions, Organite myths debunked, all kinds of cool stuff, how to make Organite, everything you need.
We appreciate your support so much. Thank you for tuning in. And gosh, the 50 minutes just went by.
I know. It was great. Thank you all.